Go.
Bandito Radio 112 FM, a streaming radio station for all toy enthusiasts, collectors, photographers, and customizers. Built to match your mood and passion. Music from hip-hop to country and all the rock in between with host Howlin' Jim Jackson. For a dose of the macabre, there's Myra's Morgue of Midnight Madness, featuring old-time radio dramas and Action Figure Frequencies, a radio podcast about all aspects of toys and toy collecting, with your hosts, SKN's own Chet Maddox and Alexander Storm. Bandito Radio 112 FM. Available to stream now on Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Beautiful Adventure Destinations presents its Galactic Travel Package. Visit the peaceful planet of Alderaan at the heart of the Galactic Republic. No refunds, no exchanges. Planet may not exist at time of arrival. Void were prohibited by the Empire. Long live Palpatine. Bad travel. We're not good. We're bad.
Well, good evening to you all. It is Friday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on SKN. Thanks for tuning in, and we have a jam-packed episode in store for all of you this evening. First off, Daredevil episode 8. Oh boy. We won't spoil it, but we will spoil it. Stay tuned because we have a lot to discuss around Daredevil as we approach the final episode. Also, Predator, another one. Did we need it? But this time, a killer of killers. The trailer we will review. Thunderbolts or Thunderbomb? Well, we have the next installment in the Marvel MCU phase, the new phase, and how will this go? What are our thoughts? Plus, we're going to talk a lot about Hulk, Maximum Hulk, Star Wars Popcorn Bucket, and lots more. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. This is Pixels, Plastic, and Ink. Well, good evening to you all. Please, before we go any further, subscribe, like, comment in the channel. Gentlemen, Mr. Storm, Chet Maddox, Dr. Brantley, how are you all doing this fine Friday evening?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Rolled up. We got some good topics tonight.
Oh, we got some big topics in. Of course, we've got Commander Bly, Power of the First. Welcome in. We got Wholesome Warlock in the chat. Scott Simpson, good evening. Appreciate you all jumping in. And don't be shy if you're watching and you don't drop a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Chad, how are you doing, sir?
I am fantastic. I'm excited. There's a lot. I have some things and some issues with popcorn buckets that we're talking about today. But look, I think that let's just put it this way. We'll get into the conversation, and I just hope this isn't the year of the trailers instead of year of the movies, because I feel like, as having a resident person on the team that has cut every trailer to every bad movie that I've ever watched and tricked me into watching them, Dr. Brentley, I'm hoping that this is not one of those things with some of these trailers. But hey, I'm not the one making the movies. I'm just the one that watches them. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Dr. Brantley, what do you say to that?
Well, that's the job of a trailer editor, is to make you want to go see the movie, regardless of how good the movie itself actually is.
Yeah. Well, you did good. You did good there.
It would be better if, like, you got a bad movie and you cut a very bad trailer, and everyone said, like, "Oh, I don't want to see that." But that's that sucks for all the people that made that movie. So you got to try and.
Just a never ending cycle, huh? Did you guys ever have like battles back and forth when you're cutting trailers? Like, look, all right, you got like the bigger shit pile than I did, but look what I cut versus like look what they cut. Did you guys have those competitions?
Oh, there's all sorts of competitions between not only yourself but other companies in the trailer business. And the worst part is when a company has like 3 different companies doing trailers. And then they say, like, "Oh, well, we like the beginning of this one. We like the middle of this one. We like the end of this one." They call it a Frankenstein. And they just get one of those companies to just shove them all together and hope it makes sense.
Who can sell the bigger bag of rocks to the audience?
Yes.
Well, we're going to review a couple things, and I hope for the sake of both Thunderbolts and Alien that it isn't filled with bags of rocks. Mr. Storm, how are you doing, sir?
Doing all right. Not as good as her buddies, the Wholesome Warlock. But shout out to Full Frontal Fleshlight popcorn buckets. I don't know if they're giving that out, but I think that was the Doom 2 bucket, if I wasn't mistaken. So we'll have to see. But doing good, man. Just again, we got some good subjects tonight. A lot of good things, a lot of good potential, and that's what trailers are good potential. Let's hope in every possible point it makes it through. So we'll see.
Yep. I hope so. I mean, the Deadpool Wolverine was kind of a fleshlight bucket, if you will. Then obviously the Dune one as well. So without further ado, let's jump into the subject number one. Again, we want to let you all know, if you are not caught up on the Daredevil series on Disney Plus, well, you might want to tune off for about 5 to 6 minutes, because we're going to jump into the weeds of what happened episode 8, and you can come on back.
And it's important that we're going to count down from 5 for you to get off, because this first screenshot gives away a lot. Okay, so 5, 3, 1.
Hey, well, ladies and gentlemen, episode 8 is now upon us, and as you can see from the screenshot, well, it certainly looked like Daredevil jumped in front to save Kingpin from a bullet from none other than Bullseye. So the last 2 episodes have been really great, in my opinion, and this one, not a ton of action. There was an action sequence that we saw, but I think overall a cliffhanger. Matt Murdock, is he dead? Is he alive? The after effects. Gentlemen, how did you take this latest episode leading into the season finale, right? Only 9 episodes, right? Is that correct?
Either
or is
9
it 10?
or 10?
I think it's 9. We can double check, but what do you think of the episode?
Look, the last couple of weeks, I kind of thought, and Dr. Brentley and I were talking about this off camera. I think this was some of the stuff that they had cut in from the original idea that they had, because the whole bank robbery scene didn't fit the tone of the actual entire series. So that seemed out of place, and it seemed like a filler episode. This one, I'm an opponent on that. We watched just last year, Colin Farrell win all type of awards for the Penguin because it did a roller coaster, and it did it in a great way. I don't think that Daredevil has right now done that for me. And I think that there's too much in the courtroom, too much in the drama, not enough Punisher. It's one of those aspects where I really believe in every possible situation that it's just timed wrong. And so, like, again, it was nice to see the cliffhanger. And if it is leading up, if it's only 9 episodes, then that means we really just get Frank Castle in one really complete one episode. That's disappointing, because I think so much potential was left on, Daredevil and Punisher rising above it. So, right now I was telling Dr. Brentley, I would grade the season right now as a C for me.
Interesting.
I'd grade it higher than that, but I mean, all those things are true. It felt like some of these scenes seem like they're trying to be very funny, and then some of it seems like it's very serious. And like the serious stuff is really good, and then the funny stuff just kind of feels out of place with Daredevil. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, if this were a regular, like episodic show, you usually in those kind of shows, especially if it's a superhero show, you've got to do like an action scene, at least one or two every episode, and have the way that the story works out. We've only seen Daredevil like 3 times so far in this whole show. It's been very good, but you're missing out on a huge portion of what makes people want to watch these superhero shows. The superheroes.
Yep. Jet, thoughts?
Yeah, I think that I think that this episode really kind of wrapped up the Vanessa and Fisk situation, and they got their connection back. But unfortunately for me, it's very much like a talking head show. And look, I get it, I understand it. It is what it is. But it's almost there. It's almost there. And I think, the problem I have with it being a talking head season is that the episode where Daredevil and Punisher were talking was epic, was phenomenal. It was well written. There was mood, there was tension. This one, I think it was there. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like the end of the episode, I was like, okay, didn't really see that coming. Like, that's a good twist. Like, I like it. There was a lot of build up to it. There's a lot of anticipation of like, okay, what's actually next, right? Because of everything that happened. So I'm really hoping that if it is literally only 9 episodes, I'm hoping that at least the last episode includes all of the action and all of the like chaos that we've been missing throughout the episodes. I also think that they haven't really done Bullseye justice. I don't think Bullseye is a well enough known character for people to understand like what he's doing with the tooth and all that other stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping for more action in episode 9, because it's really been a series. I'm just not sure what they're building up to with this series, with the lack of like, it's like Dr. Brentley cut the previews for this too, because I saw all these different Daredevil helmets, and like he just keeps like fighting with himself about becoming Daredevil, and then it's it doesn't really happen. And then the other thing that I think that they could have just gotten rid of altogether is BB on the streets or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
I think that that's just I don't know. I think that was put in last minute to make up for the lack of footage they had because of all the reshoots. I think they had to come up with something, and then her it's you know, I don't know. That's my thoughts. What about you, Rad? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think with any of the Disney Plus Marvel series, there was definitely lower expectations. So coming into this, I was surprised it was actually much better than which I thought. Like a lot of people had hype. I didn't have hype. I thought coming after episode 6 that we would see Fisk turn it up a notch and we would see
Yeah.
his villainy and his evilness come through, and it kind of settled again. He's back to this, like, I get it, he's planning, he's the mayor, but like if you knew nothing about Daredevil, this was your first season watching, Kingpin is not menacing at all. He got a dude in trapped in the prison, and that's it. Like, where is his really badassery? There's not much, right? So he doesn't look like an amazing villain. I think they rushed Muse into like 2.5 episodes. They could have like started that early on and like built up, but it was just kind of like crammed down our throats, like almost like a throwaway, when it could have been something interesting if you started off really slow. But who gives a shit? He died, and it was kind of like, fight sequence, interesting character. But I thought like a cool, creepy serial killer, it would have been something special if you built towards it. Maybe that's what they included last minute. I'm not sure. And then I think lastly is this cliffhanger. I don't know how much action we're going to get. You're going to say that he recovered and then he's going to fight. Like, I don't know, is Frank Castle coming? We do know that there was a sneak peek, and I don't know if it was leaked or it was studio leaked because it was so well done. Is like next season they're filming. Looks like Daredevil, Matt Murdock's in the Shadowlands costumes. I don't know how that translates or whatever. I think that was real that we saw. So I don't know if there's going to be an amazing payoff. Everyone's wanting Punisher. You going to squeeze him in for 5 minutes in the last episode? I certainly hope so. But, decent, but not incredible. And even the cliffhanger, I didn't jump out of my seat and go, holy crap. To me, it was a little lackluster for me.
Well, they did this on WandaVision where it was fairly, mundane for most of the show. And then like the last 2 episodes was like a full-blown Marvel movie. So, hopefully they do the same here, and they've been saving up budget from some episodes to use on the finale, which a lot of times they do, So let's hope.
Yeah. And I hope they don't play this like Fisk is now going to take a liking to Matt Murdock because he saved his life, and I just don't want it. We'll see. I'm gonna look. There's still potential. It's not bad, but we'll have to see how things play out. Overall, I think it's getting good scores. Still, people are interested. It's lost a little momentum, but it has an opportunity to finish very, very strong. Any last thoughts on Daredevil, sir? Meek in the chat. What's up?
No, I think you're right. It's just that they definitely going to have to, again, once you've seen the Penguin, now the way you judge all these superhero movies or TV shows has slightly skewed. And if you're not giving me that same energy and that same writing, then it means you just failed. And you just basically took like whatever $100 million or whatever you needed and just junked this up. And I'm just sorry. I'm not seeing it. You can't give me something like that. And now I'm spoiled. And now everything else is minuscule to compare to it. That's what I'm feeling with this. And they said he's going to be more brutal, more situations. You can't give me 15 minutes of that cross almost 150 minutes. You can't do that. You're going to have to turn this up a little bit more. Even the legal drama and everything that dropped all these Disney Plus show characters in, like Miss Marvel's father and the now the new White Tiger and all nobody gives a shit about that. Just do a good storyline, get us to the action that we need, and don't tease us Punisher. It would almost have been better if they didn't tell us Punisher was going to be in this series.
Yeah.
That's all
I
I'm
think
saying.
that the three things they could have done better, again, in my opinion, introduced Muse early on in the season and a slow build as the main subplot villain to track down, where you actually saw him kill multiple people. The relationship was building with, his girlfriend, the psychiatrist, like that. It could have been better. Number two, I think Frank Castle should have egged on Daredevil more. He should have been the one that's like, dude, you need to put the mask on. What are you, what are you doing? Like the serial killer rampant, all this stuff. Fisk is the mayor. They should have had multiple sequences of like Frank Castle trying to say, come on. And he was still reluctant. And then finally he dons the mask and he becomes Daredevil. And I think the third thing is Fisk isn't intimidating to me.
Yeah.
He's too soft. Give me a balance. I saw, he's punching that one guy one time, but I want to see, he has somebody killed, out in the back or something like that. I think if they did that, the series would be much better. But they have an opportunity to salvage it with this last episode heading into season 2.
Yeah.
And with the Penguin, this is also a street level show. So, it is almost apples to apples,
Yeah.
And all I'll say is Penguin, every single episode, they were ratcheting up the tension. And every episode at the end, you're like, oh my God, how are they going to do this? And then you can't wait for the next one. And they're not doing that. This last one had a good cliffhanger, but a lot of them, like when they released 2 in a row, I think that was because they're like, well, in this second one, we've got some of the superhero action, and people are going to get pissed if we do go too long without it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same thing Bly was saying, that the Penguins set the bar set a very high bar that don't think Disney is capable of reaching. I agree with that statement.
Well, look, I'm not gonna judge the Matt Murdock, who's the actor that plays him. What's his
Charlie
name?
Cox.
I'm not gonna judge him. He's a good actor, but is he on the level of a Colin Farrell or
in that scene with Punisher, he was.
Yeah, but who was in the scene with him?
Right. You need
that's like that. So I don't know if he'll ever be a nominee. I could be wrong, but let's be honest. Punisher got some acting chops, right? Like, Colin Farrell's got the acting chops. So, sometimes it's just the powerful actors, not just the script, that makes things come along. We saw that with the Penguin. What's up, Professor Zoom? Yeah, that's true. It could be 100%. It is a hard character, to be honest with you. If you're not deeply embedded into the comic lore, you're trying to like build this character for the Disney Plus audience, it's definitely a bit more unique than others. And again, we'll see. And we're going to move on because we got a lot of other hot topics to talk about. And the next thing we're going to talk about, well, we do have another Predator, folks. And this time, well, he's animated. And he's on steroids. And he looks like Bane's brother. So
weird.
What do you think about this trailer? Should have been animated. What do you think about the animation? I know, Mr. Storm, you were chatting about this when we first saw this, and you had some questions. So I'd love to turn it to you first because I know you had some thoughts here.
You know what? I don't like this style of animation because I think they've used this a little just too much, and it's kind of like a bastardized version of the Into the Spider-Verse, and then also I think Kubo or whatever that animation was. And I don't think this fit. I think if you're going to do something, you could have done like an anime or something, and the animation style could have been completely different. Now, I think the subject matter is fantastic. I thought it all worked. I just didn't think the animation worked with it. I'm still looking very forward to it though, because this is something they could have been doing an anthology series with the Predator through different times. I love the samurai thing. I thought that was great. It looked like there was a little bit of the Norse gods kind of scenario with Vikings, and then World War II. The subject, the writers got this right. It just the animation looks too cartoony than something I think that if this would have been like straight manga, because Chet and I are watching 2 different manga series that are fantastic. One's Lazarus, which is by the creator of Cowboy Bebop, fantastic, and then it's the other one that Chet that you're watching right now.
Solo Leveling.
Go to the people that does it best, but the story, I'm very hopeful for, because everything I saw in the story is like, okay, this will get over some of the animation choices that they used.
I completely disagree about the look. I love the look because it looks like a painting. And I like the textures on the characters and all that. Now, it is kind of a cheap way to do some of the animation, because you essentially do the wireframes of it and then put textures on the outside and stuff. But I think it looks cool for what they're trying to do. And yeah, the story looks fantastic. Like all the different killers that you come across in history, and the Predator fights them. That's pretty effing cool.
I can't hear you, brother.
Right.
Right, got cut out.
He's still muted.
It was the sorry, I thought the Fox was like, we're cutting him off. They're talking too much trash about Predator. I just want a Predator figure of this dude, killer of killers. I want that on my mantle. Big buff looking Predator. I don't know. The animation didn't bug me. The trailer looks pretty cool. I'm interested to see more along the lines of the story. But I guess the thing what I would say is we're seeing a lot more animation that could have been feature series or films, live action. And I like animation, but sometimes I prefer live action. I wonder if we watch this, it could have been better in that form. I don't know.
It would have been too expensive. There's no way they could have done this in live action. It would have been like a $200-300 million movie or something.
Baby. Come on.
Well, yeah, but it's not going to make that money. That's the thing. You have to work out, is that many people going to go see it?
Dr. Brantley, how many studios have fronted 250-300 million and it's only made 10% return?
Look at how much the Predator movies have made. Any of them. None of them have made that much money. But I don't think any of them made over 2.
Yeah, but if you here's the thing. If you made this movie, and let's say you put like a grade A top level star in the mix, and you also had an Arnold Dutch cameo, it could pull internationally that type of money.
That could with Arnold.
I'm not saying they would do it, but I'm just saying, as I'm watching it, sometimes I evaluate, could this have been better live action? Like Into the Spider-Verse, I'm like, it's animation. Like that's the fit. But other times I'm like, ooh, like I've always thought about that Spawn series on HBO, which was amazing. Some of the best animation ever. And I'm like, this could have been live action. It could be live action today. Don't do anything else, McFarlane. And I think about the same thing here. But I'm excited to watch it. Like I like Predator stuff, even if popcorn flicks, TV. But give me this character because he looks badass. What about you, Chet? What's your thoughts?
I think it has potential. I think there's just some stuff that you have to, like, if you remember the Matrix, when the Matrix came out, they did the Animatrix. I think there's just some stuff like I'm looking for this to be complementary to what they can't do live action. So if it's something where you watch it and it's literally something where you could have said, okay, I don't know if I think that this probably could have been pulled off live action, I'll be disappointed. But I do like when they take this route. I will say though, I am on the same page as the Thunderous Storm here with the animation styles. But I don't think that it would have. I think if it would have been in the form of something that you would find on Crunchyroll, I don't necessarily know if it would attract the right people that they're looking for. I think the animation's good, but I'm just hoping that this is complementary to all of the Predator things that have come out prior to this, minus Alien versus Predator.
Well, I mean, it looks brutal because they showed the samurai guy get chopped in 3 different pieces.
Yeah, here's what I'll say, and this is the reason why that I'm a little bit disappointed, because studio heads, and we've sat around, they get stuck on shit. And they get stuck on like, oh, let's make it look like Into the Spider-Verse and everything. And then you have something like Secret Level that comes out. And if it was animated in that style, and damn near any of the 10 stories or 12 stories that ran through, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But when you kid it up a little bit and you've kind of done this animation where it's not as good, because again, certain things set the bar. Secret Level set the bar. They did Dungeons and Dragons. They even got Arnold Schwarzenegger. How they can't get Arnold back for a voiceover in a Predator movie where he's animated, beyond me, you know. And it's kind of like this. It is gonna hate level. Like, you got it true. Secret Level was amazing by Meeks too, but that's what I'm just saying is that when you have this stuff out there, you've thrown our favorite genres out there, and then you get something like the Predator that we don't get to see enough, I say, good material from, and you've got the opportunity to do it. You can't get trapped into a genre look. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, look, it's like killer of killers, right? So, what better way than to say, well, you need the killer of predators, and Dutch makes his return. I'm just saying, we
Work for
need
me.
Arnold one more time in one of these Predator flicks, man. Give us Dutch, man. Come on, we deserve it. We deserve it.
Can you imagine animated Dutch?
I'll
You know, it's
Dude,
like Arnold doesn't even have to do the work. He just has to sit, does the voice work, and you could make him do anything you want to do. I still think they need to do a third Batman film with Tim Burton and have Michael Keaton. You can't just
mhm.
CGI it. You know, it's easy. You know,
They should write a script of like when Dutch is in the chopper, there
now
and rescue, like what happens afterwards,
I,
right? So
Commander
Chuck
Bly's on to
Norris versus
something.
Predator. I mean, there's no. I mean, that's a 30-second movie. I mean,
I
Chuck
know.
Norris wins.
I'm watching that. I'm watching that.
I mean, Chuck Norris one spin kick sends him back to whatever galaxy he's from. I mean, let's be honest. Well, we'll see what Predator brings, but I think there's some mixed feelings here, and we turn now to the Thunderbolts. This is up and coming May 2nd, right before the Fantastic Four. Lots of trailers here. This one feels like a very similar approach of comedy / action, doesn't take itself too seriously. Some side characters, a lot that have played multiple different MCU films or TV series. So, gentlemen, Thunderbolts or Thunderbomb?
Thunder, thunder, Thundercatso.
Yeah, I think
I
this
think
is
it's
this is one of those films where I was truly worried about it, because when I saw it, I was like, okay, look, it on paper, potentially it was one of those films that I thought maybe they shouldn't have done, because I just don't see it working in, and I just don't think it works right now. And then I saw like the first trailer, and I was like, okay, it looks better than I thought it did, but I still don't. And then I saw the Century, and I'm like, they fucked this up, and I think this is going to be another movie bomb that they're going to put out, and I think now it makes Captain America, the third movie, look even fucking better thanks to the Thunderbolts, because I think this movie's not going to make a shit ton of money at all. I think they're going to lose money on this, and if you saw anything of those Marvel Legend figures, I don't think they're going to make it up through merchandise either. I think this is a thunder bomb for Marvel, and it shows they still haven't learned some actual lessons they need to learn from that last phase.
They have one of the biggest, baddest villains, Sentry. Like that's surprising to me. Is like this group gets like a pretty epic boss here. I'm surprised he's in this film. I don't know. Dr. Brantley, what do you think?
Well, the movie is tracking to open around 70 million, which is about 18 million less than Captain America Brave New World. So it's not looking good. And Captain America Brave New World has just barely gotten to 200 million in the US, which again is not good since they spent way more than that to make it. So I think Thunderbolts is going to be, it costs less, but it's still going to be in, it's not making their budget back. And they were able to pull this off with Guardians of the Galaxy, where you took an unknown group and made a movie, right? But it had some other things going for it, mostly which was goodwill towards the Marvel universe. Right now, nobody really cares. Except for Wolverine and Deadpool, what has people cared about since Endgame and Spider-Man? That's about it.
Well, it sounds like Thunder Bomb is your opinion. Chat Maddox.
Yeah. Flopalicious is about what I would call it. Look, no one wanted this movie. No one asked for it. I think it's a placeholder. It's either gonna be it's probably gonna be bad, but I don't know. I'm not very I'm not very I don't have high expectations for Thunderbolts. I think if you go to it with the understanding, like, look, if I can find like $40-$50 to throw away at some like bad tasting popcorn, loud theaters, shitty loud kids yelling at the theater screen and running around while the movie's on, I'm probably gonna go see Thunderbolts. But I just don't know what they're going to do with this film, because it's really I've never heard anybody say, "Hey, I want to watch Thunderbolts," and they ruined Black Widow, and then that's where we got to see the White Widow, and then so I understand this has some play into that, but I just don't know where they're going to go with it. So we'll see, and hopefully the goal here is that I'm wrong. Okay, the goal is that for once in my lifetime, I'm actually wrong about something, and we can document this on the internet. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. So, because it would be good. It'd be like a world record. Chet's actually wrong for once, but it's not.
Well,
it's not gonna
if you want to go to a movie theater with screaming kids, you're going to have to go to see Minecraft, because they won't be in Thunderbolts.
Well, that's why I'm gonna come pick you up, and we're gonna go see Minecraft together.
Well, it looks like the consensus is big question marks. Not tracking well. I wish it the best of luck, but it's a bunch of characters that people probably don't remember unless you're diehard comic books.
Chicken
with
Jockey and Flint.
The most famous of the characters being Bucky Barnes or Winter Soldier. So this is one of those that could have been direct to Disney Plus, but everything is funneling through the box office now. As we move on to the final recap of trailers, and is Tron Ares. Another installment in the Tron franchise, the third of the new franchise. October 10th, 2025, Jared Leto at the helm. Your thoughts on Tron Ares? Are you going to watch this? I've always been a fan of the special effects and the lore of Tron, but the story has always been in question for me, especially the last one. So, let's turn it to Dr. Brantley, because I feel like he wanted us to talk about this. So, what say you with Tron?
I'm thinking third time is a charm, because I don't know, the first one I never really liked. I could never get past just the initial conceit of, wait, a computer in 1982 is going to digitize a human.
This is so everyone can see who doesn't appreciate Tron. Just need to.
It's me.
Stare at him.
But look, all the effects, and that was cool. I loved the action figures. And then in Tron Legacy, I actually thought they upped it a lot. The soundtrack was amazing. The visuals were incredible. And the story needed a little work, and some of the effects, like the de-aging, didn't work at all. But besides that, it was really cool, and I enjoyed it a lot more than the first one. Now, this one looks like it could be exactly like what I've been waiting for, like just the visual stuff. 9 Inch Nails is doing the soundtrack, which is going to be amazing. and a cool story where all this computer stuff comes out into the real world, which is what I think people have been waiting for most of this time.
Well, the only way this gets the type of notoriety that they're hoping for is very similar to the theater sandworm from the Dune franchise. We better see a bootleg light cycle through the movie theater. So if anybody is an engineer, I would love to see that. My personal thoughts again is like I like the concept. The music is so important to this. So it's not Daft Punk, but hey, Nine Inch Nails is a secondary decision there. It all is the story. Jared Leto does not have a good track record lately of making good films, and to me, that is the big question mark: is his involvement in this. So it's funny because it's like, yeah, I did Blade Runner. I kind of want to do something very similar, so just plug me into Tron Ares because I feel like, are you the same character as you were in that film? But I don't know, Mr. Storm, Tron Ares, you gonna watch this thing?
Yeah, actually, I thought the second movie was an improvement. I thought the first film was, as good as it can be in the '80s, and with the technology he had. The second one really upped it. I liked a lot of the cycle battles and things because it was more, Daft Punk definitely did a damn great job on that soundtrack, and it just had the entire look and feel of something in that universe. Nine Inch Nails got a hard job to come from
Mhm.
because wow, like if the only thing that would have made me even more excited for Tron 3 if Daft Punk got back together and said we're gonna do this, so and yeah, he said maybe they should source the bad deal radio for the movie. I don't know. They definitely they need to do something. I think Nine Inch Nails is going to do a good job, but again, that last soundtrack was just amazing. I think you're right. Jared Leto has a very tough scenario on this because he has not his track record has really kind of been in the toilet. A lot of people were kind of a little worried about this movie, but if they have good special effects, they put them around the great actors, I think this could work. Again, we're all going to see. I think this film, the one thing it does nail down is if we will ever see a fourth film from this franchise. I think it's laid on this. If this does not, if it goes to the Tron 2 kind of scenario and it doesn't meet the expectation, I think this is the last Tron we'll see.
Well, I mean, they do have to keep Tron in the public consciousness so that they can keep their light cycle, roller coaster at Disneyland.
Yep. Chat, final thoughts. Tron.
Yeah, my final thoughts on Tron. Yeah, I'm just gonna watch this Tron. I love the first Tron. I think it's because it came out when I was a wee lad. My dad and I watched it a lot, and then the second Tron came out, and I was like, "This is great. This is fun." I think there were some flaws I had with it, but I just like the whole concept of Flynn and Tron mixed, and so
I like Flan.
Yeah,
Really great.
Flan,
After
fucking
some
great.
tacos. And
Yeah,
burritos.
after some talking. Yeah, so look, I'm excited to see what happens with this. I think I was impressed when I heard the Nine Inch Nails was doing the music because I'm like, well, is it really Nine Inch Nails or is it just Trent Reznor? So I really want to find that out because Daft Punk, man,
Yeah, wow.
they made that last movie, and look, if anyone can do it as good or better, it would probably be Nine Inch Nails, but I don't think it'll be better, but it may be as good. And hopefully, we didn't really hear a lot about this one coming out. And then it was just like, by the way, here's Tron. And so that could be good or it could be bad. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go, and it doesn't matter if it's bad. I'll say it's good. So that's where I'm at because it's Tron.
I think there might be an opportunity for us to see Chet back with the headband, a neon one for this film.
There will definitely be
the
a chance
neon.
to see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That shit's coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, if you have not paused and subscribed, liked, or commented, now is the time. We do this every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time here on SKN. And don't forget, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific time, is the Toybox Chronicles for all your toys, collectibles, and the world of pop culture here with us on Friday nights. And it is now time, Mr. Storm, for everyone's favorite segment, SKN News.
Well, before that, actually, we have a surprise segment that popped in. And
Uh-oh.
every now and then we like to throw
Wait a
these little
minute.
teasers for you. That's right. It's time for.
I
some
feel like we're going to be
Van Dam.
very busy with this segment with tariffs and all that stuff. It could be an hour-long Van Dam segment.
Well, we like to do something before the tariffs started hitting, and the complete part that this weekend we had to take the Pride and Joy down to Oddfrog Entertainment, the Bandito prototype back down to him. So we were in the South Bay, and we started a little stomping ground that Chet and I used to go to, the Comic Bug. Yes, we're going to give a plug. Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach. And we stopped in and said, hey, man, let's take a look at the comics. So we walked in, and obviously the big thing is Hush 2, and it's out on the market. And there was, they had the books on the shelf, and we looked and said, okay, the pricing was okay. Then we saw the foil covers, and I was like, oh, this brings me back to some 90s bullshit. And when we picked up the book, at this point, I don't know what the industry is doing, and that's why it gets a Van Dam. What are you doing? It was $24.95 for the I believe it's the Sean Gordon Murphy wrap cover.
Yeah, it was
Emily
so
was at
bad.
$19.99, and this other one is, I think, running for $25 with Hush's face. When there's no bigger tone deaf scenario for me is that when your industry is failing and you don't even have a major distributor that's kind of went away, and more bookstores are pushing, comic stores are going out of business, and then you have DC Comics saying, yeah, let's put a $24 comic on the shelf instead of putting something that might attract. Now they're patting themselves on the back for 400,000 copies sold. Same number Absolute Batman sold last year as well. But again, let me just remind people, Dogman sold 12 million books worldwide. And you guys are in the industry. It's the tone deaf. Like Commander Bly said about the movie industry and getting people out of the Disney point, you have to get the image guys and all these people that have been running this industry into the ground. You need to have somebody else come in because they are literally killing the industry with bird brain ideas of $24.95 books. Like, come on, who's that servicing?
And the problem is that the $24.95 is just you're literally paying $20 more for them to staple one of these hologram whatever covers around the original cover anyways. It wasn't like it replaced it. It just was put over the top.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think there's a level that's, especially after everything that happened with Diamond, there's just a level of disappointment that you look in the industry and be like, when is the common sense going to come through? Because you guys are killing this industry with your thoughts and plans. And maybe you want to burn it down because you don't want another generation of people to have wealth or be able to survive in this industry, but you're not doing any favors and it's not like Marvel's doing anything better. I just thought, like, I went to shelf, you had some excitement on this book. You could have used that to actually try to draw in some new viewers. And this is like, we looked at, first of all those damn books were on the shelf. They were overflowing the shelf. It wasn't like anybody was coming in like,
yeah, no one was buying them.
I need to get screwed this week. It's just the wrong people are running these companies and they are really killing the industry. Penguin Random House and the people over in Manga and all these other places obviously are learning lessons. Why this is not instituted back into the comic book industry is beyond me, but that's why they get this week's Van Dam. What are you guys doing, man? So from there, you're right, sir. We can run into the number one segment in all of pop culture. That's right. It's time for SKN News. That is right.
Speaking
From
of
our
Van
world,
Dam.
your world, It is SKN News, and we've got the maximum profit of the week. Yes, that's right. Now,
Yes, we
here's
do.
here's the thing. We could kind of give them a little shit, but I'll be honest with you. I thought this price was going to be way higher than this. I personally
Well,
did
it
not.
is. If you want to
Well,
pay more, you definitely can on Entertainment Earth. It's $79.
exactly.
Hey, so I got to give a shout out, and we're not sponsored at all
No,
by
no,
any toy shop.
no.
Okay, just make it clear.
Mhm.
But I got to give special love to Empire Toy Shop. Some of you may have bought some stuff online, but they just posted a message 2 hours ago on their Instagram. It's Empire Toy Shop. Message about tariffs. The Hulk is overpriced. We won't be selling it. Have a nice day.
Right there. Bravo, gentlemen. Bravo.
And now we're gonna try to get sponsored by. We're gonna sponsor them.
I mean, look, and I think in the comments it's like go to Amazon if you want it because like the margins were already thin, and
Yeah.
there's no way in hell. So like, good for them, man. It's probably the wrong time, obviously, for a release of this figure during the economic climate that we are in.
Yeah.
Perhaps a year ago, $59.99 still would have been an outrage as it was for the Maximum Spidey. But to me, at least the Maximum Spidey is like, okay, it could be comparison to some of the other, the Renew Your Vows Spidey or the Mayfex Spidey. This Hulk is not even close to the best Hulk.
No.
Wait, so you're not ordering
I know you all
this?
talked about on TBC. It's not close to it. Why would I pay $60 when I could just? It's not even close to the top one, and to me,
honestly,
it's not even close to the best 2 or 3. My opinion.
Honestly, Rad, I haven't looked in a minute, but I know you're on top of it a little bit more than I am. What is the current like going price for that Marvel Select Hulk?
Oh, it's fetching new in box. It's like $120 now. Like,
so you could just pay double and get a way better Hulk, and then if you want pictures where he's clapping, you just pop the arms out and photograph it and put him back.
It's the best Hulk, and you remember the mold was broken, so they didn't even when Marvel Select figures were in business, they weren't making anymore, so it was already limited. And now the fact that Select's not even in business anymore, forget about it. But it's still the best figure. You could probably get it loose on eBay for much cheaper, but that's the going rate.
Yeah.
Well, looks like some of these molds were broken when they made them.
It's
Those
just
faces are terrible.
I mean, I don't know. Articulation's okay. It's just I don't know. Personal preference. I don't need my Hulk to be the most incredibly articulated figure of all time. That's what I want my Spidey for. That's what I want Wolvie for. Hulk kind of stands in the background a little bit, and he can move a bit, but it's just a lot of money, and I don't think it's close to a top Hulk. And I know a lot of other people. I'm not shitting on the figure. If you purchased it or pre-ordered, fantastic, good for you. Just not my choice.
I think, like Mayor Bly said, maximum miss. I think this was look. You had Maximum Spider-Man, and I love the reaction of people, especially on YouTube now. But first, oh no, that figure sucked. We all was like, no, it's pretty good. Now I see people like, oh, I might have been wrong about that Maximum Spider-Man. But this only tones it because of the fact is that Maximum Hulk was such a miss. And I'm like, wow. And you could even tell from the individuals that were on the Marvel stream, even it was hard for them to sit there and say, this really? And I'm glad it wasn't a Wolverine either, because they could have just dumped a Maximum Wolverine. I think you needed something a little bit better than this. And I think that if it would have came with better accessories, at least, like just some clapping hands, a thunder, like wind, and a explosion clap and a missile, that's not
And
going to do it.
a GI Joe missile. You don't like the rubber chesticles?
Well, who cares? Like, I don't need him to tap his. That to me is not like a tooling thing that you said that worked. Look, we saw Brutal Realms guys do it without even having the rubber, so it can be done. It's just this was just a profit grab, and it just so happens to be that the world turned itself up with these special pricing, and that added to it. Look, if you bought it, enjoy it. We love you to enjoy it. I thought this was a road too far for me to do for Marvel, and so it was a maximum pass for me, dog.
They should have done what they should have done as a secondary release is picked a figure that could be a lot more importance in articulation and is on very much relevant to the Marvel scene because they know when things are being released, and it should have been Daredevil.
It should have been Daredevil. Or give me Maximum Thanos. You know,
Yeah.
give me something other than the Hulk just clapping his hands.
It
You know?
should have been Daredevil. I know Wolverine's been mentioned and
Yeah.
Venom. They should have done a comic accurate Daredevil, and it should have been Maximum series to follow up with Spidey. Would have been badass, and I guarantee you people would have been a hell of a lot more excited than this figure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, again, all East exclusive Hulk. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. like the
Bow,
Kool-Aid
bow.
man said.
Well, you all know about this. I mean, I don't want to stay on this topic here, but the Spider Maximum series, a lot of people canceled their pre-orders. So you literally can go right now and either get it in stock or get it pre-order to come out in a week or two. So they made a lot of those figures and people changed their minds. And it's going to be the same here. It might be showing sold out in certain places. Guarantee you
not.
post-release, people, you're going to get it in stock. You'll get it in stock and you'll get it cheaper. I guarantee you.
I went on to the sites and they weren't sold out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So Hulk
they
is
made
not
a lot of them.
doing
Yeah.
as good as Spider-Man. And we'll see too, because I know a lot of people ordered extras from GameStop. And before we move on to that, and just also, if anybody out there is like to call like 1-800 screw Walmart, because Crystal Ball has not been going well for any of the fans that ordered him through the Walmart Collector Con, which I love the word con that they put into it. But if you're having any problems getting your G.I. Joe classified Crystal Ball, well, guess what? Every damn person on the show has got that. We're delayed. Darth Moocher hit us up and said, "Did you guys get to delay?" Yep. So this has been a colossal mess up as well. So I don't know, man. Big box toys and the stores and the big toy stores are not having a good win this week. But you know what? Maybe something else turns out a little better for us. And then let's see this next clip. Let's see if that works.
Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, we got a problem here, bro. We got a problem here. Now, look, I'm up for 100% accuracy on things. And when I heard there was going to be a Tauntaun bucket, because you know nobody loves popcorn buckets more than the SKN PPI crew. We have championed them on. There's all videos all over the site, you know. Well, let's read it. Star Wars Tauntaun popcorn bucket is currently available. Now, here's the thing. It's currently available, was at Disney World. Now it's making its rounds to Disneyland. The Tauntaun popcorn bucket costs anywhere between $32 to $35. Not that bad, depending on which location you purchase it from, around the park, Galaxy Edge or whatever. They're charging different pricing inside of Disneyland. So maybe there's some kind of Disneyland in-house tariff that's coming. I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense why it'd be
Emperor Palpatine has decreed 125% tariffs on everything.
Can
So-
somebody tell me why this wasn't like the belly is cut
This
open?
is exactly the part, is that if you're going to
Yes.
do this,
Yes.
first of all, you can only buy 2 of these collectible things, which they should just give you to it, because the minute I saw it first, I said, that doesn't exactly look like an actual Tauntaun. It looks like a cartoon Tauntaun. But the second thing that got me was, if you look at it, why in the hell is you not slitting open his belly to put the popcorn out? I said, what? You just killed the whole entire. Why even do the Tauntaun at this point? So
It should
I
have been
don't
a
know,
popcorn
man.
bucket. It should have been filled with red Jello, and you slice
Look,
the belly open, and
I-
everything pours out.
I would no.
Let's
But it
be
kind of
film
if you look at the gut worms, it kind of looks like it could be popcorn. It can work like that. But I'm just
It would be better to serve spaghetti in it, honestly. But
I just wanted people to see the accuracy of Empire Strikes Back, typically one of the top greatest films of all time, and look at the bastardization that they did of the Tauntaun, where they put him in the back. So you know, like what's going on, man? You got to give. Look, we've got the Doom bucket, we've got everything else. The Deadpool and Wolverine bucket. They're not scared to push the whole pentagram of where they should go. But Disneyland said, no, we're not going to have it slit out his guts. We're going to have it pop out of his back. Didn't make any sense.
He looks extremely happy, by the way. I've never seen a Tauntaun be that happy.
When Chet and I was sitting there and said, "Did you see the Tauntaun bucket?" He was like, "Oh shit, man!" I was like, the first thought was, "Well, that's not movie accurate. I don't know why you would do that."
It's
So,
okay.
and again, look at what size this is. That
know.
is like barely a small popcorn. How much popcorn can you actually
Oh.
fit inside that tiny little bit?
This is a Disneyland popcorn. It's probably $99 for the popcorn refill. Let's be honest, though. It's like you've got to. First of all, you've got to spend damn near close to $300 to get in. To spend another $35, and probably $99 for just look. You're gonna probably end up spending almost $1,000 to get this bucket by the time you make it to your car. So they knew what they were doing, but this was a disappointment for me, bro. I looked at that. I said, "Oh!" When I heard that, I had excitement. And then I pulled up image. I was like, no, you can't do this.
What's the sound the Tauntaun makes? Remind me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Dr. Brantley, it's gonna be a nah for me, dog.
So bad.
How much was your heart ripped out, Chet, when you saw the actual bucket?
Man,
doesn't even make sense. Revenge is
this is probably the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time. Like you know what? You could have put an extra large popcorn if you just laid the tauntaun down on its side, and then it had a little flap that you opened up, and the popcorn was in there. You could have done a lot. It would have been cool. It would have sat on your shelf with like Jabba the Hutt.
It would have.
Like you could have done a lot of things, and they opted for some version of a tauntaun that the back opens up, which I have never seen in Star Wars. So,
which gets me upset because I want to know the product review board because there was somebody probably fighting like, no, this doesn't make any sense. This is not in the spirit of the tauntaun. You would have it slit through the back, and it's like, no, Jim, we've all polled around and we want to have the politically correct tauntaun at the parks.
I mean, look at
reaching inside the belly of a tauntaun for their snack.
These things are sold out. These things are going to sell out. It doesn't matter. They could put anything in. These people buy popcorn buckets. So
I still have yet to be successful getting any kind of popcorn bucket.
It'll be sold out. It'll be on third party reseller, eBay. Yeah. This will be triple the price.
All the cool popcorn buckets are coming out when I was in Georgia, and it just wasn't a thing. And so now I just sit by myself without popcorn buckets.
I'll sell you one. I have a leftover, a couple of them. Do you like Morbius? I got a Morbius.
Yeah,
I'm having trouble selling that on eBay. I don't know why. I have no clue why. So,
well, if you thought the tauntaun was a little bit of a disappointment, we got one last one for you for the night and everything. So we hit that point.
I think that was the news. Really long.
That was the sound that literally hundreds, I would say thousands, but there are not that many people reading comics. Literally hundreds of people made this week when Image Comics, and one of the longest, and give him credit for this, 15-year price traditions on Spawn will now jump from $2.99 to $3.99, which is still better than damn near 100% of almost every other comic book out there. You've got to give Todd McFarlane the credit. But a dollar pricing is, for 15 years, you can't. But the price adjustment addressed feedback suggesting that Spawn was overpriced in today's market. Image Comics aims to manage costs without major price hikes despite recent economic pressures. Spawn 363 marks the first issue to reflect the new pricing, representing a shift in the comic book retail trends. Well, that's not necessarily true, because Bleeding Cool put up today that actually will probably be moved down to the end of the year. So Todd's probably going to extending that a little bit further than issue 263. But you got to give them credit. Again, 15 years to keep a book at $2.99. And I love how Image Comics said, well, we feel like it's it's underpriced, because what would a corporation not say?
I was at this point where I thought we weren't ever going to have any more key issues in the comic world, but hey, this is a key issue you might want to get and bag and board and frame and put on your wall, because it's the end of an era, some would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's like Costco raising their price of a hot dog. Same thing here.
Mm-hmm. Well, wait, 15 years ago, DC and Marvel raised their prices to like $4.99 and some books $5.99. It was crazy. And so I applaud him for keeping it this low for so long,
And that's
which
why no
also
one buys
means
comics.
well, it also means that they're doing something correctly at Image Comics and probably not having a bunch of overhead. And all these other companies have just so much bloat, and they're, upcharging all these books to pay for a bunch of unnecessary stuff.
Well, here's the thing about Tom McFarlane, and again, whether you like the guy or don't like his artwork or whatever the situation is, as pure as a person that gives a damn about fans, the man does. He makes sure that the price of his action figures are always a little bit less than everyone else. He tries to give obscure characters out. With Spawn, he's tried to make it readily available for somebody that was on a kid's budget of like an allowance of $5 could walk in and still buy a comic. You've got to give him credit for that because a lot of people don't do his thinking. He thinks about fans first. And the fortunate problem is that he's the only one in the industry that's doing that. And corporate's going to do what corporate's going to do. But I thought we'd just give a round of applause to Todd for doing 15 years of something that no one else would have the guts to do. And it's endeared me more to check out more of his stuff. 'Cause I usually buy the anniversary issues of most of the Spawns whenever it hits because I've been reading it since one, and then there's an era I stopped reading it, and every time it hits a milestone issue, I'll pick it up. This what always keeps me coming back to pick up something from Tom McFarlane because his thoughts are into that. And gentlemen, with that being said, that is the end of SKN News for tonight.
Thank you as always, Mr. Storm. Again, subscribe, like, follow, all that good stuff. And hey, spread the word. We appreciate you all that are in here every Friday night in the chat, commenting, being a part of the community. And for those of you who can't make it on Friday nights, family commitments, you're sleeping, you got work, all that good stuff, we appreciate you tuning in after the fact. But spread the love, man. We're growing the channel. We love talking toys and pop culture, movies, TV, all the things. So again, much appreciated to our loyal followers and subscribers. So gentlemen, we got some stuff upcoming. Again, as a reminder, we are inching closer to a big event for the SKN crew. Do we want to talk about in the next couple of weeks what is happening?
Oh, obviously. Yeah, May the 4th, SoCal Joe Show in the city of Temecula, California. We will be in the house. We'll be live streaming there along with the guys over from Odd Frog Entertainment. They'll be having the Bandito and the 112 Chop Shop that will actually be appearing at that booth. And also, if anyone doesn't understand, our good friend Richard from KS Collectibles had passed away, and AJ, his good friend, will be there representing him. And it only feels right for us to do that day as a celebration because he was very dear to us, and we're looking forward to meeting everyone else and doing some live broadcasting and everything from our home state. And later on that night, you can head yourself up to Apple Valley on the 15 freeway. And it's technically May the 4th is supposed to be Star Wars Day, but Joe's taking it early. But you can still celebrate with Star Wars trivia at Better Days Bar in Apple Valley with the Starlight Digest podcast crew. There's going to be special Star Wars like drinks inspired that'll be there for the night and trivia. And if you've ever seen any of the trivia from the Starlight Digest podcast, well, just to let you know, Dr. Brentley's the reigning #2 guy in that. So he's going to be representing SKN. Even more damn pressure because he's got to win this time because we need to actually be the top of that board. So Dr. Brentley, please do your Star Wars studying right now because we need you all focused on all the things that the rest of us in the crew just don't give a damn about studying for. So we've got that. And if you don't know, Chet and myself do a show over on Bandito Radio called Action Figure Frequencies. And, it gets lonely being the #1 toy podcast show on a radio station like
It
that.
does.
So we decided to ask some good friends of ours to pop in. So we're going to hit that screen up right now. And ladies and gentlemen, let me hit this wrong. Let me take that down. And They put the right one up. It is Action Figure Frequencies. You can listen to that on Bandito Radio. It's on every where you get your podcast from, all over, from Podbean to YouTube to Spotify, wherever you get it from. And we've been getting a lot of great feedback. But starting in block number 9, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Toybox Chronicles presents the newest show, Purple Gang Gang Full Frontal. And if you've ever seen the shows, which they have live streams every Saturday night for their standard show at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They are going to bring up the era and the situations that Bandito Radio, I don't know if they know what they got coming, brother. But they got some stuff coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, those guys are wild. We're looking forward to it. But Bandito Radio is growing. So if you're into, toy photography, toy collecting, if you're into toy customization, and you just want something on with great independent artists, with actual good toy podcast, and some old time radio shows and everything, then put that on while you're into your toying mood and everything, and enjoying yourself. And that's what we got going, guys. Gang, and all, bro. Everything's blowing up.
Amazing. I love it. Well, again, if you haven't tuned into Bandito Radio, please do so. And again, we appreciate you tuning in this evening. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, another episode of Toybox Chronicles. So, for Chet, Mr. Storm, Dr. Brentley, I'm Rad. We will see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Incoming transmission.
There's a new show headed to Bandito Radio. Action Figure Frequencies with your hosts, Chet Maddox and Alexander Storm. All the talk on action figures you crave. Only on 112 FM Bandito Radio.